Welcome to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, CEO of Academia.edu, and as always, I'm here to guide you through the latest and sometimes most unexpected corners of academic research. Remember, I don't endorse the views discussed, just present them neutrally for your own reflection. Today, we're opening a truly unique volume, a research paper that is actually a sprawling poetic journey itself. The title, a collection of poems written by Suresh Soni, who also goes by the pen name Kali Kaivalya. Now that name, Kali Kaivalya, has deep roots evoking mystery, darkness, liberation, and the journey from illusion to self-realization. Pretty evocative, right? But don't worry, we're not just quoting poetry all episode. There are real insights here, even for the prose-minded among us. So, what's the core question this collection, this research project really, tries to answer? At heart, it's how can poetry, as a distilled voice of feeling and wisdom, help reconnect humankind with nature, truth, and our inner self, especially in an age absolutely overwhelmed by noise, distraction, and division? Why is this important? Well, just think. When did you last find yourself in silence, genuinely able to reflect? For many of us, that space is almost extinct. Soni suggests that poetry might just be the lifeline we need. The central argument from Soni's collection is both simple and deeply layered. Poetry, especially when it's minimal, elemental, and grounded in lived experience, becomes a tool for inner reflection, not escapism, but a way back to the center of being. Rather than, as is common in modern times, just describing chaotic, external worlds, Suresh Soni's poetry looks within, uses the basic elements, rivers, sky, flame, silence, and creates moments that nudge us towards self-knowledge. What about method? That's kind of a funny question with poetry, but Soni's poems are structured, often compact, measured quatrains, and each is meant to be a standalone philosophical echo. If you ever want to try a meditation with words, this is it. The themes are classic, universal, the unity of existence, dissolution of ego, the acceptance of impermanence, and, as he puts it, the necessity to breathe poetry back to life within ourselves. What are the findings? If poems can have findings, well, Soni makes a point again and again that poetry is more than ornament. It's the purest language of the human heart. He argues, and I'm paraphrasing here, that when we ignore poetry, we lose a connection to something timeless, almost like losing our ability to speak with our own soul. And here's a tangible insight by reviving poetry, by letting silence, stillness, and small observations into our lives. We can heal fragmentation inside ourselves and in society. It's not just about pretty lines either. The poems touch on some brutal topics: environmental collapse, violence against children, economic inequality, the burden of caste. There's a whole section, a blistering section, questioning what it means to be civilized if we hurt the most vulnerable. If you think poetry can't be sharp, think again. And there's this fascinating balance. Suresh Soni draws not just from personal experience, but from the bedrock of Indian, Vedic, and Buddhist traditions, arguing for a way of living that's attuned not just to the world, but to the self behind all masks. So, to you, the listener, maybe this podcast isn't about memorizing quatrains. It's about the reminder to pause, breathe, feel, notice the world and your own mind with a little more care. I want to pause, digress honestly, because this question of poetry's role in our lives, it's personal. Like, have you ever just stared at the sky for a few minutes, then found thoughts that had nothing to do with work or errands suddenly rising up? There's something there, and maybe, Soni would say, that's poetry at work. Or maybe it's just being a little sleep-deprived. Who knows? All right, let's wrap. Why should you care about all this? Because, as Soni insists, the distance between soul and society might just be bridged by reviving the ancient music of feeling, of noticing, of stillness. Poetry isn't dead, it's sleeping in us, and when awakened, it mends inner fractures and perhaps, with patience, ripples out to heal communities. Final reminder, what we've explored here is Suresh Soni's take, not absolute truth, but an invitation, a suggestion for you to explore your own relationship to poetry, to silence, to meaning in a chaotic world. Thanks for tuning in to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, hoping you'll step out into your day with a little more curiosity, maybe a whisper of verse humming in the background. Until next time, keep questioning, keep reflecting, and as always, I'm just the messenger.